Hi, and welcome to ID Pilates Online. Today we are going to work on an exercise called 360 breathing or lateral breathing with the assistance of a resistance band. So the purpose of this exercise is to make sure the diaphragm is fully expanding and that we're getting expansion of the rib cage with our inhales the way our body's meant to move. So the diaphragm is this dome-shaped muscle at the base of our rib cage. It domes up into the ribs at rest. When we inhale, it expands like this. It domes down and the ribs expand out in a 360-degree direction. We tend to get pretty locked up in the back and have trouble expanding into the back and the sides of the ribs. The other thing that this exercise can do for us is help us connect into our deep core and get our transverse abdominis, our deepest core muscle, to activate. So we're going to use the band for feedback around the ribs so that you can really feel that rib cage expand into the band, and for the feedback of pulling the ribs away from the band to get that full exhale and to get the diaphragm and the transverse abdominis working together really well. So I want you to grab a TheraBand. I have a medium tension TheraBand here. You could do medium to heavy. Again, it's going to give us that nice feedback. If you don't have a TheraBand, using something like tights or leggings, as long as there's stretch to it, would work really well. We're going to take the band, and I'm going to have you actually tie it around your ribs. So you want it at the lower ribs there, just below the bra line. And then you'll actually tie it, and you want to tie it tight enough that you can feel a little bit of the pressure of the band, but not so tight that you can't breathe. So we're going to breathe, or we're going to tie that around, and we're going to relax. And then you are going to make sure you have a neutral stacked position. So make sure your ribs are directly over your pelvis, and that you're going to try to soften the ribs down a little bit. So make sure you're not popping your ribs forward and up and opening the front of the rib cage. You want to settle the ribs right over the hips. Think about the bottom of your rib cage directly lining up over the top of your pelvis. From there, again, have that band tight enough that you feel just a little gentle pressure from the band. Then you'll take your inhale, and as you inhale, I want you to really focus on feeling those ribs expand against the band. So we inhale into the band. Really focus your attention on the sides and backs of the ribs. And then on your exhale, breathe every last bit of air out and feel that rib cage narrow and pull away from the band. Breathe every last bit of air out. Make sure you get that full exhale. We're going to take that again. So you inhale, you feel that expansion into the band. And then we exhale and we hug the ribs in, we hug the waist in, and we fully expel all of the air out. Diaphragm completely domes up and narrows in. Good. Let's keep going like that. So you inhale, expand into the sides and the backs of the ribs, feel that band expand. And then as we do our exhale, I want you to try to think about breathing out from bottom to top so that the pelvic floor and the lower transverse abdominis fibers get involved a little bit too. We do want to be careful when we're doing this exercise that we don't fully just narrow the ribs and get what we call oblique dominance here and keep the low belly puffing out. That's going to tell us that our pelvic floor and our transverse abdominis are not engaging fully. So let's do the same thing again, but this time when you exhale, think about breathing out from bottom to top. So you get those lower transverse abdominis muscles or fibers to kick on and the pelvic floor. Let's take it again together. Ready? So we inhale, we expand into the sides and the back of the ribs. And then you exhale, and from the bottom to the top, breathe out, narrow your hip bones, narrow your waist, narrow your ribs away from that band, expel every last bit of air out more than you think you need to. Let's take that again. Inhale. Feel that back body expansion, and then exhale. Breathe out from bottom to top. Good, let's do it one more time. Laterally into those back and side ribs. Feel that band expand. Good, and then breathe out. Narrow the hip bones, narrow the waist, narrow the ribs away. Good. You can keep going and do more of those if you would like. Please feel free to comment below if you have any questions. Thank you so much for joining me.